Ask the twins, what's the most expensive luxury item they bought themselves?
Freedom.
Freedom.
I just want to add to that, like, man, just to make it clear, like, people, podcasts, people always talk about the podcast, talking about the book. Like, look, man, I am sure of who we are. I think that for sure there would there hasn't been. I'm not sure there ever will be um, drug traffickers like my brother and I. I do believe and know that we probably ran one of the most successful drug trafficking organizations in the history of the United States, and we left it alone for a reason. Um, and people say you weren't built for that life. Oh yeah, you're telling me when you get there, you let me know. All right,
Mm.
uh, that was our life, right? We lived it. It's not fiction. You hear it. We're when we talk about we're having a relationship with these people, right? It's us. I don't think that there's another American out there that made it on both sides, of the border, right? Like my brother and I. But we left that life and we risked our life to leave that behind for a reason. And I think that people always, might have comments or whatever, which is fine. But I really believe that it doesn't matter what luxury, how much money we made, and I say it like it was a lot, but it didn't matter, right? It wasn't worth it, especially the price that we paid our family had paid back then, being in prison, and what you continue to see to this day. And people be like, "Well, you can make mistakes." No, you know what? In hindsight, not everyone's gonna make mistakes. We're fortunate and blessed, and hopefully that people could take our story and just learn from it, right? All those people who are aspiring to be in the street, it's hard. You could get out though. We show you. You're gonna have to sacrifice. Some way somehow, but you could do it.
Mm.
And real quick for everyone who calls us rats, and I'm with you, man. I respect that. If you're just a square, I think I don't appreciate that. If you don't know nothing about the streets or about this life, now if you're on the other side, I think I don't want to like. This is what we used to say in there, and people were, when you're on my side after I cooperated, it was like you call me whatever, but call me at home.
Mm.
And then, to add to, I want to say something. Like, look, everyone has the choice. Everyone's part of the game. When people say it's not part of the game, man, I had more people telling me, and we had people that told us before that we never even met, never even knew about.
Yeah, you get into this
Everyone had,
business, you know there's this part of the game, cooperation. It came together. If people weren't going to jail or weren't being told on, everybody'd be in the game. It's a risk you
yeah.
take.
Mm.
We didn't make the rules up.
But that being said, I think everyone has a choice. So every day we wake up, we have a choice. Everyone's given that choice. For all those people who feel like they couldn't do something like that because they suppose called friends, my respects to them. Uh, my brother and I, for sure, we never make excuses for what we did. You know, uh, we did what was best for us, and I'll continue
That
to feel
doesn't
that way.
mean it doesn't mean we don't think about those people who are not around.
Yeah,
Like I said, you know, man, there's people still in prison, and my prayers go out to them. But they had a choice as well. Like when I first came in, I wanted everybody to make a deal. Like make a deal, let's just go home. Like at the end of the day, they didn't want them; they just wanted them to tell on us. And I think that everyone had the opportunity. They choose something different. I think my brother and I chose to be loyal to our families at the end of the day.
And that's what I chalked up cartel wives to. I felt like at the end of the day, it's I'm gonna do whatever it is I have to do for my family, and y'all could hold on to your opinions, and it's all good. Like you said, there's people that choose to stand on what they're gonna stand on. A square saying it is one thing, somebody else saying it is another, but even they can't
Mhm.
judge it until they've been there and they've been in that position where somebody's staring down where they're staring down the barrel of life and looking at
Yeah.
extermination.
I,
well,
I think I
I,
like
I,
to say is this. Imagine, we're good at like assessing risk and when you do that and consequences, I would imagine myself sitting in a cell, facing, execution, the death penalty. And I would say, man, what would I regret? What would I have done different if I was in that situation? When you think about your family, your kids, your wife, and it makes you kind of see things in a different light.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with both of you. Like, man, it doesn't matter to me. A square could say whatever he wants. I don't live by those what people
No, I
think.
get it.
I'm, like that's what it is. We put our story out. People are gonna have comments, but hopefully, they'll take it as a cautionary tale of of what the life is. And I'm gonna tell you, there's so many smaller stories, so many stories that that we don't share. Like we're gambling each and every day with our life. The fact that we're here has been blessing. I do feel like it's God's will for us to be here and put us in situations where we could move forward and hopefully make change. But um, it's one of those things that it's like we grew up in it, or before we even knew what I knew about it, and uh, we made the decision that was best for us. And um, money or the business of power never made us or changed us. This is who we've been.
Towards the end there, was that the first time that you guys got close to even considering or thinking about that, or was there ever another time where the pressure was on so thick that it was kind of like, man, maybe we should make this jump, or was that it?
Pressure, like you said, when I hear you say pressure, I feel like, man, there's pressure each and every day.
Mm.
Do you like just everyone's intelligent enough? Like you think about it, you can imagine stuff we were doing each and every day, who we were around. Every time I jump in that plane or I jumped in that car, I used to be like, man, am I gonna make it back home? And it's like, no, these were all added, you know, just added to them. Where it's like it's either gonna be now or never. And to make it clear, is like I think my brother and I were more scared of what we could
Mm.
become than what we were, and we made the decision based on that, because what we were going to become was uh, couldn't involve any more family and no more kids and no more children. So
No, yeah, for sure. I don't think I ever that ever crossed my mind. You start into this business early on, and you ain't got shit to lose, and you're just like, you know what? So what? Like, prison doesn't sound that bad when you ain't got nothing. But once you grow up a little bit and you start seeing the game for what it is, and you experience so much, and you live, and it- you made you can't go back to that first day, and you feel like there's no way out. Fuck it. But when you do have that little spark of light, and like I said, you start thinking about the future, and spending the rest of your life in prison or something, and being away from your loved ones and seeing everything they suffered through and everything we suffered on our own, you know, um,
You reach
you're
for
like,
that light.
man, you know, you
mm,
have to. I mean, you're trying to survive, and if my loyalty was gonna be to these people who don't give a shit about me, it was kind of weird. That was kind of the scenario I was in. Like, they'll they'll execute me for nothing,
but
for a
i
maybe.
i i want to add to that. Like, look, we idolize them too until you sit down, and next thing you know how people see them today. I see them more as like, what up, Try?
Right.
What up, Chopper? Like business
Yeah.
partners. You get me? It's different. It was like, it wasn't like I was looking at them like they're like, I would not idolize. I idolize the Lord Jesus Christ, and that's it. After that, you know, and that was it. Like to us, it was like they're human and they're not the best of human beings, and that was that. So you have to kind of understand that part of it.
Hey, let me say what's up real quick to Chief Keith, man. I see you, man, and Priscilla. Thank you, man, for your prayers and all your love from Chicago.
And you know
All of
what?
y'all.
Something I want to add as well too is for all those people, later on if they're coming home, for those people we're locked up with. I got a dear friend, Solo, who I appreciate. He's always in my prayers. Some people aren't gonna have the benefit of coming home, but I'm praying that one day he'll be able to be here and listen to this. And all those people we left behind, for sure when we're locked up. A lot of good dudes, right? And in different cities, but I just
Man,
want
everyone out there, like I said, we've come across people like that with doing life in prison, man. We pray that, doors somehow, open up and give them an opportunity to come home. And, from Solo to Rayful Edmonds to Gus
yeah.
Campos, man, to Tim and everybody out there, man, doing, long stretches, our thoughts are with you, man. There's so many good people we left behind, so many people I think about every day, and
Yeah, yeah. Big shouts out to Ray too, man. we both had a lot of great relationship with people that are going to be surprising to you, as you probably will come to know, in time.
Did you guys have workers as well that y'all maintained the relationship with even after it all went down,
Oh
after the
man, I can't forget
cooperation,
all
after the
my,
roll up?
yeah, man, all my guys out there. They know who they are to this day. The business was a business, but our friendship, our is different, right? Who we were, we still continue to have those relationships. So
Yeah,
shout out to all the guys.
yeah, to everybody, man. They're family to us. They weren't just some throwaways. We care about them and we think about them every day. And this whole process was hard.
At the end of the day, the jig was up.
It's Yeah, it's a hard life to live to leave behind. Like I said, you got to put yourself in our shoes. We had everything we ever wanted in a way, and you have to walk away from that. It's not easy, to turn your back on something like that. And thank God for opening our eyes to the truth and seeing it for what it was. And
How,
yeah, man, just a lot of suffering. Not only our family, everyone's family. I don't forget about those people. I know they had families too, and like I said, everyone has a choice.
did you guys growing up have the because in a lot of us it's inbred that the snitching is a bad word, or was it something that y'all saw normally throughout your father's activities and shit like that, or your brothers what they were going through? Did you see a lot of people cooperating against other people and stuff like that? And was it part of the game, or was it something that you guys looked at like, that's some, these guys are pussies that ain't holding up?
I would always feel like, I mean, it was part of the life, and you kind of just you don't dwell on it too much. And I grew up reading paperwork and seeing, what the feds would do and trying to like outsmart them and trying to think how not to be in that situation. But it's part. I mean, what could you do? Like
Well,
I
I
don't know.
I think we shared it. I think that in growing up, like in my father's era, for sure, man. Like that was the worst thing that could happen because my father blamed the cooperator. He never blamed himself, but he blamed someone cooperated against him. And but I think for my brother and I never someone snitched. Like, look, man. People who were around us know there's a lot of people who cooperate and were free, and I'd run into like I never said, and listen, everyone's gonna do that no matter what. I never focus, or we never focus on what someone else was doing. We focus on what we were doing, plain and simple. And did it make us be like, damn? Yeah, but at the same time, we already know we've been around that life before we were in it. You know what I mean? Like we were living it through other people, so it's
And
to
so
us, it's like, all right.
You caught a lot of strays, in the game, but I'm sure there was some good times. Can you think of a good time in the game?
I mean, it's always good. Like when you were getting on, and we it felt like we had the whole world against us. My brother and I were young. We were just teenagers, early teens, and we kind of like came up against my brother's generation, putting us down, and K kind of fit into that generation as well, and it was kind of hard to like overcome those obstacles, but it felt hella good to be on top. I mean, at that time, we're like to be able to just do things that you never imagined you could do, and of course the spoils of it, felt good for a while. But I think the biggest thing was always being able to help people out. That's for sure. Being able to like get your family out those situations, get out the neighborhood, get out the hood, stop worrying about those things and tell my nieces and nephew like go to school, don't worry about nothing. Your family, like I'm gonna take care of you guys.
Yeah, a lot of people don't see that the same way people with legit jobs that make good money, that do help people, that want to help people, it's the same feeling for somebody that gets their money however they get their money.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the goal, man. I got into the business to get money, to get out the hood, to get out of the being poor. It wasn't just about being in the club, and I'm not one of them dudes that want to just go and I'm not gonna throw no money up in the air, and I'm not gonna do that. That in the beginning, of course, it's part of what it comes with. You're out there, kind of trying to make a name for yourself and letting people know. But once you start kind of getting it, it's like you don't have to do that no more.
Right.
Like you want to take care of those people around you always.